Dunbarton Board of Selectmen meeting to order. All three this is for Thursday, September 6th. All three selectmen are present. The town administrator is present. Board of secretaries here. Leo, welcome back. Leo's reporting for the public. Okay, gentlemen, I have old business minutes to review.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 23rd, 2018, the regular meeting, as amended.
I'll second his motion.
Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. And a motion to approve the 6:53 PM non-public minutes of August 23rd, 2018. Those weren't amended, so as they are written.
Okay.
Another page.
Dave, you wanna second that?
Yep, second that as well. 653, 112?
Yes, correct.
Any further discussion on those minutes? There were no amendments. All in favor?
And a motion to approve the 8:35 PM non-public minutes of August 23rd, 2018, as amended.
I'll second your motion now.
The only discussion I can say is for most of them changes to as amended were basically grammatical, small ones, very tiny ones. All in favor? Okay, I'd like to go right to public comment. I'm gonna put Mike, you have a comment? You're on the agenda. Linda, you're on the agenda.
I'm not on the agenda, and I do have some public comment. Deborah Trottier, Chair of the School Board. I'll just pass this on to you all first, and then I can talk a little bit about it. As you can imagine, it has to do with our $1 million. So,
Thank you.
Mr. One, just for you. Thank you. So basically, we had some discussions, and we've talked to our business manager, Dwayne, it's not really a concern, it's really just more logistics on how things are gonna work with the tax rate. What you see here is Article 3 in this RSA is what Goffstown used in order to break the taxes up into two different tax bills.
Mm-hmm.
And what this could allow you to do is to have more cash on hand by adjusting your June bill, so that when the school district asks for the higher rebounded funds that we need, in case you don't have, it'll allow you to have that cash on hand as opposed to relying on a surplus or something like that. It's really just a way to take care of that under collection in June by collecting a little bit more in June than what was based on the tax bill. It is a process through the Department of Revenue. This came from the Department of Revenue as a suggestion for something that the selectmen could do, because you guys are, the town is the agent for tax collection, it's not the schools.
Is this next June you're anticipating? Adjusting the June 2019?
I think you can do it for the June and the December, and you certainly can reach out to Dwayne to get, some better information on how to do this process.
Okay.
But it would allow you to adjust the June bill so
Which
that.
we're talking about June next year.
Correct.
Okay.
So that the December bill, because the way it works now, as you know,
It's gonna be smaller than huge.
right, and this would allow you to make June a little bit bigger and that December not quite so big a jump. So it would allow you to adjust that. So, we try to be conscious of what you might have on when you collected taxes on when we ask for money. But in the end, we all have bills to pay. And so this might be a way for you to even that out a little bit for collection and for having cash on hand.
It's a good recommendation.
I know that it's probably, you don't necessarily need to do it now, but we wanted to give you the information as soon as we had it, so that you could do some research into what you wanna do and how you wanna handle
And
it.
I did get the letter personally from Goffstown, so I can look at that and then.
Right.
and
Yeah, which
use
showed
that.
them requesting to
Yeah.
give the money
Right.
back
Yeah.
earlier.
Right,
See
and
how
this
they
is
were
what
going
they-
about it.
Yeah, and this is the RSA that they had used.
Thank you.
But we
Perfect.
just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of it, in enough time so that you could do something, if that's what you choose to do.
Okay.
Great suggestion.
Thank you.
And then you get that for action.
Well, you're up to it. Can you give us an update on how it went on the new school opening?
Of course. So we, got our occupancy before school started, so that was very exciting. The school, I'll be honest, the morning of the open house, so the day before school started, I guess it was like a disaster zone. I went for open house and it was beautiful. So I can honestly say that this has been like such a good experience of administration, staff, school board, PTO, community members all coming together and making this really happen. The school looks great. It's very, I feel like our school is very updated now. That we're delivering education the way that we should be. If anybody gets a chance to go in and see it, you should. The new window when you first walk in, is so much nicer for, staff to be able to see people coming into the building. It's much more secure, it looks beautiful. The teachers are practically floating, the students seem really excited. Open house was just great. We had a lot of people that came through open house, that didn't have kids in the school, just to check it out and stuff, so. It's about 95 to 98% done. There's a few little straggler things like, HVAC, we're just waiting for equipment to come in order to, that'll all be wrapped up by the end of the month.
And I know the parking lot's good, that needs to be addressed too.
Right, and that's pretty much the last thing, is usually the parking lot, the playground. All that equipment was moved and the PTO, helped purchase additional equipment that the students are very excited. I guess the first day of school, they were out there with recess and stuff, so, yeah, so it's been great.
Great.
Yeah,
Nice to
very
hear.
worth it, and we appreciate all
Can
the
I ask
support
one
of everyone.
question? Is everything going okay with the mowing? I know that we probably asked them to make a drip down
Yeah,
there.
I have not heard that it's not going well,
Okay,
so I'm gonna say that it's going fine if I haven't heard anything,
Okay.
so,
all right,
yeah,
good.
thank you.
We still got summer left.
Yeah, there's still a little growing season,
Yeah.
so,
Thank you.
you're very welcome.
Jeff, anything, public comment? John, public
Nothing
comment?
this morning, nothing this evening.
Okay. Sir, you're on the agenda? You're on the agenda? Leo, welcome back. Anything for public comment?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Don Larson for filling in for me this summer,
Okay.
because it's pretty hard to get somebody to do this, and so he was.
He
you
had
know-
one slip, but we let it go.
Yeah, and I know about that, yeah. Because I've been viewing them up north, and I couldn't get that one, and then I found out that it was his error. But he's got a full plate, and he just overlooked it, you know.
It was
It was an error,
perfectly
but
acceptable.
it was really good that I was able to have him to do this.
Very nice. Okay, thank you. Bring it back to the board. Now I'm gonna go back to the gentleman. Linda, Henry, town clerk, you're up.
I wanted to introduce our new deputy town clerk to the board. This is Hope Arcee, our deputy town clerk, and you know me, Bob Martell, Mike Kaminsky was our chair, and Dave Knoll. I can't remember our recording secretary's name. Jennifer.
Welcome.
This is her second week with us. She's doing great.
Okay.
Very pleased, good choice. And I've got her, I'm in the process of signing her up for certification with Department of Motor Vehicles. They will not even entertain the thoughts of certification until she's been with me at least a month. So based on, her time when she started, she won't be able to certify until, was it
End of this month.
October?
October.
Right, because they have specific training periods,
Okay.
so it's, she won't be here long enough to get into the September training, so we have to wait until October.
Very nice. Okay, I have something for you, if you'd be so kind. You would-
Elections?
No, these are our town employee manuals. They require a signature from you. We have made a few updates. I was gonna ask Lean, if you could make a summary letter that could, introduce them to, once they're signed and approved, could you make a summary letter highlighting the changes and send it out to, with the new manual to all the employees that it affects.
So will one of these be for the town records?
Yes, absolutely,
I
yeah.
will do that. I'll do that and get it back to her.
No, we already did that, that's right.
I'll do that and get it back to her, and Before I give up the floor, did you have any questions for Hope? Like, is she gonna stay?
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
It's a challenging job, and the thing is, as we talked before, but it's a steep learning curve, but I think, yeah, I already heard glowing reports, so thumbs up for you.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Before I give up the floor, if I may, some appointment papers for the
Yes,
election. Can I
absolutely,
jump in
yes.
election-wise?
Sure.
As you know, the Democratic Party did appoint a few people as inspectors of election, which is something we have never had before in Dunbarton. It's always been the appointments, locally. So they've taken care of a few of them. We did have to recruit some more. I checked with Pam Miliotto. She would like to continue as the ballot clerk for a 2-year appointment.
As a,
Ballot clerk,
what party?
Democrat.
Okay.
Okay, and then Barbara Warner would like to continue as a ballot clerk, Republican side. The Republicans did not appoint any
Understood.
inspectors. So Barb Warner would like a 2-year appointment.
Okay.
Good call, Stanley Zopa, Stash.
Yes,
2 years, we got him for 2 years, and he's gonna stay election night and help count ballots.
good.
Is that a Republican?
Yes, oh, absolutely.
He's
Oh, my
Republican
God.
as well. So, we still will need to get, more to agree to a 2-year term.
Right,
I spoke with J.R. Hole today. He is gonna be in touch with, Janice Coach from Bow.
okay,
Cook from Bow, because they're members
okay.
of those who would make the appointment. And, they'll come back maybe with some names for the future.
Okay,
For right now, I do have, Fred Mullen said he would be willing to work the election,
okay,
Tuesday only. He does not want a 2-year term.
which is
So-
fine.
So I'm thinking, I've got to research it further, but I think he'll just be appointed as an election official by the
there
moderator
is a-
and fill in that slot.
The paragraph right there states that, the second page into the manual, on the like, ballot clerk responsibilities. Second page talks about the ballot clerk appointed almost anybody for a short term for that
Right,
election.
so we're gonna go with that short-term one for these who don't want the 2-year terms.
Correct, okay, great,
Okay, and, in the process of getting the meals ordered,
okay,
you folks know that setup is 4 o'clock?
yeah, and
Anytime after
we have
4.
Yep.
two individuals
I
coming.
think I CC'd you on that email
You
and I
did,
sent it to Woody, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard back from him, so hopefully he's communicating.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll have to look, I've been,
Okay, yeah,
Not
that's
tied
the
up.
other thing. I'll remind myself.
Okay,
all right, so if you have any more election questions, or you're good for now?
I only have one other, as far as ballot clerks or somebody to help with the elections. Spencer's wife, Kayla Knoll, used to work in the Goffstown elections down there, and she would like to volunteer.
She would.
So if you could reach out to her?
I would be happy to reach out to Kayla.
and just
She's
to,
up for it?
Yeah, I guess so.
just to review the process changed a little bit, where by July 15th, both of the predominant parties, this one Republican, Democrat, were to notify the town clerk of 3 potential ballot clerks. One party failed to do it, and so responsibility falls to selectmen, also the moderator. And so I wanna thank Linda, the moderator, and the selectmen who have been, like, we're turning rocks over to find these people who could volunteer, even for a small shift. So, and even Janet Casey, who's been helpful, I wanna at least recognize her. We just wanna make sure this election goes smoothly. And then we get to do it all again in November.
Everybody's been really great about this, and this is such a new process for us, because we've always just had ballot clerks ever since I was a ballot clerk 20-something years ago.
Right.
That's how it's always been,
In
so.
fact, the term now, I think they call it
Well, they're inspectors of election.
inspectors of ballot,
But
of election, yeah.
inspectors of election to serve as
As
ballot
ballot clerks.
clerks. So it's,
Just I think it's semantics, but they have a few more responsibilities though, which you're gonna require, you're gonna need to go over them specifically,
I'm gonna
Lisa.
make a lot of copies of that election manual,
Thank you.
whatever is relevant to.
From tracking out-of-state driver's license to sending people over to, if they don't have any ID, to send them, instead of send them out, send them across the way to get a after date.
Affidavit, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If you wanna do these now, hand back to her.
Okay, we can do that real quick.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Pam Miliotto as a ballot clerk, term ending August 1st, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a another motion to appoint Barbara Warner as a ballot clerk, term ending August 1st, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And make a motion to appoint Stanley Zopa as a ballot clerk, term ending August 1st, 2020 as well.
And how do you spell that name?
S-Z-O-P-A.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
And
Aye.
Barbara's W-A-N-N-E-R.
Okay, say aye.
Thank
You pronounced it with an R,
That was all.
an extra R.
I did.
Actually, how do you spell Pam's last name?
M-I-L-I-O-T-O.
There.
See you on Monday night.
See you around the neighborhood.
We bringing this stuff in, for you Monday night?
I'll have everything outside by the door Monday for whoever's gonna set up over at the polls.
All right.
And then after the polls are closed and we count everything, then you folks will
Okay.
schlep it all back.
Thank
Thank you.
you, Linda.
Thank you.
Okay, continuing on the agenda, Mike, welcome. You have the agenda. You're on the agenda next, and we're talking about some dirt.
Yes.
It's Kelsey Road, so I'm gonna recuse myself.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Just to let you know, on the Kelsey, I'm aware the decision was made. I'm also aware that you're appealing it. So the town doesn't wanna make any quick knee-jerk reactions as far as doing anything to that area until your appeal goes through. So I'd have to share that with you.
Okay.
I wanna make sure that the appeal has a chance to go through. And Dave, Bob, do you agree with that?
Right, no.
Okay.
As soon as we have a solid determination at some point in time, yeah.
I just wanna respect the process.
We can resolve all the issues that, have been brought up.
But we're here tonight about dirt.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm gonna call the road agent in here, because I want you to comment, Jeff, and you help me out here, what we're gonna do. But present your concern, sir.
Okay. 2 years ago, prior to constructing that turnaround, Jeff Crosby and I went out there and looked at the spot. And I told Jeff Crosby, whatever fill comes out, I want it, where it's stacked. There's a pile of dirt stacked there. And that's where I wanted all my fill to go, right in that pile.
Okay.
During trial, heard testimony from Dave Knoll, Jeff Crosby, and Peter Gamache. That Phil was taken to Dave Knoll's property. 100 cubic yards was removed. Some went out to Dave Knoll's property. Some was used to improve the roadbed of Kelsey Road. And some made it over to the town gravel pit. So went out there and measured this pile of dirt that was left there that I thought matched what was done.
Sure.
That pile of dirt came out to 38 point something cubic yards, which I'm calling 40 cubic yards just to keep the math simple.
Okay.
So I'm missing 60 cubic yards of fill. Called Pro Landscaping down on Mast Road.
Right.
I don't have the exact figures, but to get 10 yards of fill, of gravel, it would cost me about, I think it was $230 to deliver. Now, I don't know how the town wants to. I never gave permission to use my fill to fix the road, go to the gravel pit, or to be trucked out onto Dave Knoll's property.
Okay.
Okay, and the job was done by the town, and I don't expect you to, like you said, it's all tied together, and but I wanted you to be aware of it, and I would like the town to make come up with some kind of plan to reimburse me for 60 yards.
Okay. I briefly talked to the road agent, I think he's prepared to return fill to that site, am I correct, Jeff?
Yeah, we talked about it a while ago,
Right.
and I was told not to.
Oh, no, but the thing is, that was one of the solutions, you were gonna return fill.
Yeah.
When directed,
Yeah.
is that acceptable? If it comes to that point. Thing is, again, the question is, do we wait for the appeal and to it all dust settle and then return fill to you? One of the options was, do we reimburse you dollars? Fill was available for the town, we have fill available, we will have fill available, of probably better quality that was taken out of there.
Okay, well, I can't judge the quality of the fill that was taken.
Okay,
And,
this is what I've been told.
what's that?
This is what I've been told, so I'm with you, I mean, I'm looking at my subject matter expert, the road agent.
Well,
So would return of fill be acceptable to you? That's my question.
I think I would prefer getting paid for it. I mean, you know, come up with your own estimate, but I don't feel that I can. This, for 2 years, I lived thinking that, you know, I trusted the guy, and everything was hunky-dory. I don't wanna be put in a position where I have to trust him again.
Understood, but the thing is, it's not in front of him now, it's in front of us, Bob and myself.
Okay,
And so you're talking with two different persons. You know, we basically, as selectmen, we're the managers of the town, purse strings and direction which way the town wants to go. So you're not talking to
Okay.
Jeff, you're talking with us. So what my word is to you will be my word. But the question, do we deliver, I'm at the point where, Bob, I'm thinking, do we defer to the?
you'd like to save money.
Well, yeah, of course, especially when we have fill material available. That's what I'm going for, it'll be turning in kind.
Okay,
I guess trying to think it out is the value of fill versus, you know, I can't see where you'd figure in trucking into the number. So fill is fill, and that's, I have to tell you, there's a dramatic difference if you're trucking your own fill from a pit that sells, we'll say even crushed bank run. You know, you're not paying a lot for the fill, you're paying for the trucking. So, I'd like to wrap my head around it a little bit more so we can have an idea. I'd like to talk to the road agent and see, you know, what we can do to satisfy everybody, if that's what needs to be done. See, I don't know, unless you have an idea of,
I'd like to just state a couple of points and facts about that, if I can. I know we're talking about missing 60 yards of fill now, thinking 100 come out, 40's there. When Jeff approached me, he said the discussion was the loom was to be piled up on Mike's property, and the other excess material below that was supposed to be hauled off. The only reason Jeff brought it to my home was because sometimes I take it, they had already delivered some stuff off the edge of Montalona Road, and it was quicker for him to drop it off there. That fill is still there and it's very bony. It's not fill that you actually pay for it. You actually would pay to get rid of that fill if you were to bring it somewhere, it's so bony. So, I don't want you guys to think that if you send crushed bank run, it's equivalent, because
no, I use that.
yeah, I know,
as an
I'm just
example.
I'm going outside to tell you guys,
Yeah.
this stuff has big boulders, and some of the boulders were the size of this table. And the
Right.
bonier stuff went to our town pit because it was too bony for me to even take.
But the thing is, that fill is fill, and sometimes when you're filling in a deep area,
Yeah,
to just tap it over,
right, but when
they'll
you're filling
use that
those deep,
material also, so.
when you're filling those deep areas, you pay a lot less for that fill box.
I understand, and that's the discussion I'd like to have with Jeff, is he might have an idea of the value.
Okay, but I haven't finished, Bob. So that's my first point, okay? And if you wanna look at the fill, it's still there. The other point is, the town, after they excavated that out, filled that land back in. Okay, with good crushed gravel. So, they're not actually minus 60 yards of fill now, because there's good, unless we dig that crushed gravel out the town put in there, you're not mining 60 yards of fill, you gotta understand that whole excavated area was filled back in with, you know, a foot to a foot and a half of crushed gravel, so that our town equipment could turn around there. So the fill that was taken out and removed was a lot cheaper than the fill that was actually replaced to fill that void.
So noted.
So, just to go on a second note, so you actually have more value in that fill that's on that property now than the stuff that came out, so we shouldn't owe anybody anything.
So noted, but the thing is, in my opinion, I think an agreement was made, when the fill was piled on Mike's property, there was an intention that that was gonna be his, not for the town to take it off, take it away. That's right. And regardless of what improvements the town made to the road, it's not, we wanna put, you know, we're not switching different types of fill around. The thing is, Mike's missing 60 yards of, albeit less than optimal fill. And I think that's the issue on the table, and we can look at that some more to see what would be an equitable solution to you, Mike. I think, Bob, your idea of talking with the road agent, we can talk with him, but the thing is, you're talking with us now, and we will make a decision, appropriate decision, that I think would be fair to all parties. And without, you know, I'm not gonna give you premium dollar for, of course, the pro landscape trucking, I think Bob's right there too. But I think we can come to some sort of solution. Bob,
Okay.
Jeff, will you
You
comment?
want me to add anything now, or just be quiet?
No, yeah, this is good.
I misunderstood that. The only thing of any value there was the loam, the rest of it was rocks and just burrowy type dirt. Usually, I don't leave people a mess when I do something. That would have left a pretty big mess. Mike didn't have any equipment, I didn't think at the time. I wasn't gonna leave him a pile of junky rocks and all that.
So
I'd be in the way, so I did the same thing we would usually do. I hauled it away.
and I think
My error.
no, you had honorable intentions.
Yeah, my error. As far as getting Phil from Pro Landscape Supply, that's the stupidest place to get Phil unless you want like 3 yards or something. It's the most expensive. The town has trucks, we do projects. As I told you before, we're gonna be doing the project behind the school, fire station parking lot. There's gonna be some very nice fill there. And no problem taking 60 yards. If that's what the number is, I've been doing this a long time. I can't look at a pile of dirt and measure it and come up with 38.2 yards of dirt. I guess I need more practice. I can do a pretty good estimate how many loads there are there. If 60 yards is the number that's gonna make everybody happy. That's 4 10-wheel loads in my dump trucks, 15 yards a load.
Mike, I'm gonna bring it back to you now.
And we'll be more than willing to take that over.
So we have two solutions on the table. We can come up with a figure probably not as high as you would be anticipating. That'd be one solution.
Yeah.
That would probably be along the low side because of quality, and there's no trucking involved. The second thing is, the other solution would be, we could offer to have some material, probably better quality than what Jeff's, when he's excavating now, where it's coming from, will probably be better quality than what was removed. So the decision will be, we'd like to get some input from you, you can think about that for a week and come back to us, while we do our research, our homework too.
It'll be all clean fill, no large
Right.
rocks, stumps, roots, or anything.
Do you think that'd be acceptable? At least we can postpone this for a week, postpone the decision for a week?
Oh, yeah,
And then,
no, I wasn't looking for an answer tonight.
And the thing is, we don't wanna rush into this, we wanna make sure that, we come up with a number, but the thing is, I'm gonna say right now, for the record, I don't think you're gonna be happy with the number. But the thing is, you may still want the number rather than the fill, so the decision will be yours when we come up with a proposal. But I think we'll make two offerings and two solutions, and we'll need your input of which way you wanna go.
Okay.
Bob, does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, because, you know, it's, I guess it could be a choice. If you go to a pit and you're buying just fill, which is what was taken out, there's not a whole lot of value. The value is in trucking it to you, you know, so I guess you need to decide what you wanna see happen, and then we'll see if we can work it out.
Yeah, well, that's fine with me, Bob, I mean, you know. I could use the fill, I mean, I just wanna be there when it's dropped off, so we'd have to kind of.
Yeah, I think we could work out a coordination, that could be coordinated well ahead of time, so you know exactly what you want, like we've done.
Yeah, as long as it's accessible with a 10-wheel dump truck. I'll be dealing with
because you're gonna get a better fill than what they took out.
There won't be any large rocks in it.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah, I mean, it's really stupid for the town.
because you know that, Jeff, if you go to the pit and you just buy fill,
Oh, this will be decent.
it's, you know, because you have no money invested in trucking, that became part of the town's liability when they moved it back and forth, so I mean, this
Oh,
way
yeah.
here, at least you're gonna get fill that's delivered to you.
Yeah, well, that's why, you know, I contacted the place to,
It's not the
just
discussion.
to get an idea of what it would cost to replace 60 yards, because I would have had to pay the trucking to bring it back.
Okay, so we're gonna make a decision next week, we'll have a decision next week, and we'll look for some input from you,
Okay,
and we'll go from there.
you okay with it? So I can just come up next week?
Yes. And
Mike,
is
did
it-
you wanna wait till after the court findings, like
I
you had said earlier?
the thing is, that's a decision, hold up, you wanna, does this have impact on the court findings at all? I don't think so. Well, what do you think?
Was there an appeal to,
There is an appeal going on.
Yeah, there's an appeal about the
you know, Mike,
lawsuit.
can we come up with a solution subject to what happens with the
Final
appeal?
decision?
Yes.
With the final decision,
That'd be fine too.
you know, I think maybe that'd be the best to serve everybody, you know?
Go ahead, Jeff.
When's this decision gonna be made?
Has to be made in 30 days, Jeff, since they.
Well, I saw, just thinking we're doing that project's gonna be coming up.
Right.
You know,
I hear you.
Now's the time to do it, or, I mean, whatever. You guys, tell me what you want me to do. At this point, I think it's all pretty piddly.
Understood.
I think it's just crazy for the town to pay for the fill, just replace it. I don't think there's any discussion here. That's the end of the story, as far as I'm concerned. Give him something better than what was there, put it wherever he wants, be done with it. I don't really care what the court decision is at this point. Weather's gonna be a factor shortly, winter's coming, let's get it done, put it to bed, I don't even wanna talk about it anymore, personally.
You know,
We've had enough of it.
and you may.
And I'm not gonna charge you for my time to take the fill over there, was my mistake.
No.
How can the town do any better? Free is free.
You know,
It would be silly to pay money for something that can be replaced for free. And like I said, in
No.
my era, my truck, I'll
But the
spend
thing
my
is,
leave.
and I made the point that it wasn't intentional, it
No,
wasn't,
exactly.
it was honorable, and you didn't wanna leave a
Yeah.
mess.
No,
And
that's fine.
I respect that too.
I had no problem with it. Like I said, my era, we hauled it away with a town truck, town employee. My machine was used to excavate it out.
So
I'll
the question on the
replace
table, do we come up with a tentative solution, but the thing is, timing this thing too, the thing is, I have,
Why don't we, well,
I have
we'll make,
no problem if you guys wanna solve it tonight, if Mike comes up with, and he's in agreement.
yeah,
with
if
that.
you're in agreement with the material, I'm listening to you and I'm
Yeah, I
thinking,
mean-
it's gonna end up one way or the other, it's gonna cost us one way or the other. So it's probably just as easy if you've got the material, you got the truck, give Mike if Mike wants the material, give Mike the material and get it over with 60 yards.
It doesn't bother me.
We gotta haul it away anyway.
right,
To somewhere.
it'd be
It's a little further than
be
what we
saving
have
the
lined
towns some
up.
dollars too. So you're gonna end up getting better fill and saving the town dollars too.
Well, I don't know if I'll be getting better fill.
I'm telling you, you're gonna get
It's
it.
good, it is.
Yeah.
You dug around there, Mike. You know what the dig is like there. Don't lie
Yeah.
about that. It's rocky. It's not beach sand.
Okay,
The stuff
well,
you're gonna get is gonna be better.
Well, we'll put a solution on it tonight if you want.
No, I won't put a solution on it tonight. I can come back in a week or two and then we can figure out what we're gonna do.
Okay. I can live with 1 week. So I'll see you next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't care to be accused of being a liar.
Shoe fits wear it, man.
Okay.
Mike, before you get off the subject, when you have somebody feeling that way about it, I think maybe money is a better solution, and that way we're not on somebody's property with a vehicle.
Well, the thing
Well,
is,
obviously what it is greed and money. I want money.
Yeah.
We offered a
But-
perfectly legitimate, better scenario,
but.
and we're getting
but
stuffed at it.
As
You guys do what you want. Tell me what you want, and I'm gonna stop
As
talking.
Bob said, I think Bob made the
Yeah.
salient point. Trucking is more expensive than the fill.
Yes, it is.
And so the thing is, $230 for 10 yards, it's not gonna be that close to that at all.
No, well, it's gonna be cheap, I mean, Mount William, what does Mount William?
Trucking from a.
I guess I am a hard time understanding how you get cheaper than free, but,
No,
you
no,
know, I don't know where you're
know.
going with that.
I know, well, no, listen.
I mean, I'm not the whiz with the numbers here, but free is free.
What does Mount Williams charge?
$80.
For fill?
Oh, $1 to a yard maybe.
You can get, the best crushed gravel material is $7.80 a.
I'm talking about,
Yeah.
you're talking, we remove fill.
Just
$3 a yard or something.
Okay, so you're
$2
talking
a
about
yard.
$180.
Plus
Right?
the delivery, yeah.
That's cheaper than you, well, I mean, you're delivering it for free, I understand. You're still.
But I'm not interested in coming from Mount William for free, because that's an hour
No,
truck.
that's not what I'm talking about.
But town project,
What I'm
we gotta
talking-
get rid of the dirt.
What I'm
That's-
talking about is comparing it to dollars.
Yeah,
It's about three, I mean, that's putting it high, I think, cause I bought stuff from Mount Williams. So, you know, if, $3 is.
trying to choose a product that he's gonna be happy with, because they have all different levels. You know, from straight rock to clay and silt, and whatever.
I just see a problem going on private property now. That's what I think is gonna happen with an issue, so I think that we should,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, Jeff?
yeah.
Okay,
I-
so,
So we'll wait till next week, he comes over.
Do you have a meeting next week?
yes,
Oh,
Back
yes.
to regular.
we do.
Well, I'm not trying to be wise, I
No,
didn't.
no, the
I
thing
didn't
is,
know.
but I
It's
think,
been every 2 weeks.
but the thing is, Bob brought a point, the thing is, it's the trucking which is the most expensive part. Even that, if we truck material over that, even though material is free, it's still a trucking involved, to a smaller point.
Well, he's doing it for.
I guess I'm missing that part. Is it really that hard to understand?
You have to use
I'm
diesel.
donating my time because I made a
Trucking
mistake.
it for free.
That's what I mean, free. You can't get this. This is gonna cost you or the town.
I like
nothing.
free,
I made a mistake, and I'm owning up to it.
understood,
I misunderstood it. I don't know what to tell you.
it happens,
Yeah, so
okay.
that's what I'm getting at. Free is free.
Okay. I did not realize that, sir.
Yeah.
Leo.
Leo, you wanna comment on this?
Yeah, because I've been listening to this for a while, not just tonight, but for
Yeah.
a while. And what Mike originally came to you guys and said he wanted his 60 yards back. So what's the problem? He's gonna bring 60 yards to him, that's what I would do. He's gotta get rid of it anyways.
That's why-
Better
That's
fill.
why that
And that's
option is on
what
the
I
table.
think the answer should be, is what he's declaring to you people. It's so simple, it's ridiculous. Doesn't cost the town anything, he's gotta get rid of it, no cost of transportation, because even if you buy it at $2 a yard, you gotta pay him to transport it
Or
in,
somebody or something.
you know? And-
We're not talking about replacing.
No, it's either money or
Mike,
fill.
Right, my
doesn't
point
know if
is,
he
he
wants
came
money
in
or
and he
whatever,
wanted
so
his
my
gravel
point
back.
would be when
And
Mike
now all of
comes
a
back-
sudden, you give him the option of getting money. I don't get it.
Well, my point would be, if Mike comes back next week and says he doesn't want the gravel, the value of the gravel isn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's, you know, we'll throw a pie in the sky number of $180. I don't think he's gonna be happy, but it's either that or you take the fill.
Well, I saw a document floating around that his attorney wrote was like $1,200.
Well, that's for the premium delivered landfill.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's delivery and everything, and there's no trucking involved in this.
but whatever.
So can you give him an option of either, say,
I-
120, or you get your 60
I
yards
already
back?
warned him there'd be a minimum payment based
You
upon
know,
what Bob told
I
me.
mean, but I
or
mean,
the fill.
can you just give him that option and not say,
No,
give us a
that's-
bill?
No, he's not gonna give, we're
He's
not
not giving
giving,
us a bill.
No.
We are.
Yeah, I understand that, I mean.
that's on the
just
table.
Write a number and slide it over the table here, you know?
That's what we're gonna do next week.
Everybody write a number.
All right,
Yeah.
moving on. Let's talk about painting, Jim. My favorite subject.
Okay, that's where we're going next.
All right, this is painting for, Jeff, you are always in the center of the limelight tonight. Your building.
Pretty stressed out now. I was pretty good earlier.
What
Tried to
color?
be quiet.
What color do you want now?
Tried to be
Gold.
quiet.
Oh, wait,
Gold. Yeah, gold leaf.
How about purple?
Did you figure gold leaf?
I did review those just before the
I'm
meeting.
coming up here now. I wasn't gonna stay.
understand you met with both contractors?
Well, yeah, I talked to Dawn on the phone and I met with Brian, I don't remember his
Service.
last name. We had a third individual that I reached out to get a price from, and he's just too busy, he couldn't
Okay.
even give us a price. If he can't give us a price, it's not good, he's just too busy.
Okay, well, the thing is, I'd just like to say the, both bids were competitive, and, the contracts need to be studied.
Anything free, anything free?
I was looking for that word, since you taught me that, it's a new word in my vocabulary. I like that word, but I couldn't find that word in here. And Bob, did you see it, or Dave? No, I didn't see it. I did see a dollar sign, you know, that was what I was afraid of. But there are two proposals, and the thing is, I don't know, are we ready to make a decision on this tonight, gentlemen, or do I have a proposal to defer it for 1 week?
Unless we're gonna get another bid, and I think we should work on trying to get it going before it gets any cooler out.
That'll be a factor of what, you know.
Right.
I reviewed them all, and I'll give you my ins and outs of it.
Let me see that.
Reading through it, looks like they're doing the same amount of work, the same description of work, the same replacement of any rot, major stuff.
I had a hard time explaining that to Don. He didn't wanna lower his standards to what I wanted, but I beat him up on it, so, in his defense.
The only thing I saw on Brian's quote, and that's what reliable painting is it, Bob?
Yeah.
Is I saw that he did the repainting of all three of your entrance doors and the jamb. And I think that's excluded from Don's. Unless you meant to write included, Don.
I don't even know if they've got paint on them. They might be
He
just.
did, but he did, that's the only two
No, I
differences.
don't.
It looked like the prep in the building, mildew washing, all the rest was all.
And the trim will be replaced in the trim.
Yeah.
There's parts of it that are pretty
He
rough.
said the same thing.
Some of it's got a little rot, some of it's just cracked boards and stuff.
So it looks like by having one person meet with him, I think that worked well, cause it looks like the description.
Yeah, I tried to impress on them that it didn't have to be, I mean, the town hall looks fabulous, it didn't have to look like that.
I was hoping for that.
Well, it would take a lot more money, that's for sure, with that place.
Yeah, this excludes the doors.
No, in the back, it has to be replaces.
The guy Brian, he
Well, that's
was,
the trim around of
Oh,
overhead
you're
door,
actually-
not the doors.
Okay.
Yeah.
and the guy Brian, he was right on top of it, he understood what I was getting at with that.
Okay, just for the record, I did invite both contractors, invitation was made to both of them if they wanted to appear before the meeting, we
Yeah.
welcome them. One could not make it, one did make it for tonight.
I think I told both all one color. Trim, everything, just nothing fancy.
You don't like purple?
No, I thought probably stick with similar grade, yeah.
Can I ask a question of Don since he's here?
Absolutely, yes.
Don, can you help describe the difference between the 6,900 and the 7,500 on your bid? Because it kind of makes a difference if we look at it as the total bill on how you guys both match up dollar wise, cause you're very close at this point, I guess I should say.
Well, I think we try to leave ourselves a little room there because, for example, some of the replacement, I was down with Carpenter the other day, Mark Clark, and we don't know what's behind some of the rot, some of the rotted boards. And there's a lot of nailing down that you can't see from the ground that's loose. There's a lot of curled T111 and so forth. So you've got that variable a little bit. I also want to bring to the board's attention that the price included the use of the lift because of using the money left over in the library in terms of the lift. Unfortunately, the lift is paid until September 13th. So that's going to be a factor because I put that in, but we didn't have a meeting last week. So we're going to be tight in terms of that. So there's going to be some variance with the price because of this whole lift thing. So I was originally going to just say,
You think we're gonna have to add that lift into your price?
so I with that price, I didn't add the cost of the weekly rental with the lift because it was at the library, but we're gonna be probably over that time frame, so that's the problem. I'm gonna try to go to the lower range, but the lifting is a different deal because of the timing of it. I thought that would leave us, if we met, let's say last week, then depending on who got the,
Couldn't you do all the high work this week?
well, I don't wanna get Jeff upset, that's the
Yeah, I
main
know.
thing. I do not wanna-
building Jeff's garage.
The, well, if it rains, he's, you know, screwed.
And we've got this carpeting work that needs to get done for about
So the
a day.
lift would be included in, or added to the bid, which we know that number because you gave us that lift number.
Right,
What's the
so-
lift number?
I'm just saying it's gonna be, it may not be, there may be an extra charge here on the lift, but it may not be the full charge, depending on the timing of this, but again, if it's
So it'll be
anything
somewhere between 0 and 1,500 as a max for the
Correct.
lift. So taking the lift number with your painting number.
but it may not be 1,500, depending on
How many days you use?
timing, weather, carpeting
That's
work.
what they
We're
usually
gonna
do.
use the lift on carpeting work as, if we got it, I'm not assuming we are, so, I don't know if that's answering the question.
I think it did. Don, what about the 3 exterior doors? I'm pretty sure it said excluded in there.
Correct. But it does include the trim around the doors, like for example, in the back door, which is all finger jointed, we're gonna replace that, because it's
Okay.
junk. So we're gonna do the trim around the doors, but, you know, some of the pieces are missing, and Jeff said, don't bother with that, but we're gonna paint that in terms of what needs to get painted.
Some of them aren't trimmed out correctly, like trim a regular garage, that got a rough cut 2x6 or a piece of pressure treated, and they get damaged going in and out with wheelhouse and stuff, so there's no sense,
Maybe it too.
if they're not rotten, you know, work with what's there, that's what I thought.
And I wasn't
told-
talking
I
the
did
overhead
tell
doors,
the
I'm
other-
thinking the man doors. The 3 man doors, is there 3 in that building?
3 man
Were
doors.
those included in your bid, the 3 man doors?
You're not talking about the overhead doors for the.
No, we're talking the man doors now, the doors you walk in as a person.
Right. In terms of painting those,
Yes,
I will include those,
okay, that's what I wanted to clear up, because
correct.
the other guy included them, and that was the only discrepancy I could see between.
The overhead ones were not painted.
Right.
They're just standing.
Neither guy did
That's
that,
correct.
just the trim around those.
Correct.
So, is there any wiggle room in your bid?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I tried to put some wiggle room in regards to the slow and then the range.
That was
So,
just 69.
That's kind of my wiggle room in terms of that, so I would try to do it on the low range, but I can't guarantee that because of variables.
And
So
then
I
the
would
lift,
try to do that if I could.
and then the lift could add to that.
So,
It could,
pretty
depending on
much
the timing
August
of
a
that.
firm bid that you have.
Correct.
I'm just gonna be a nasty contractor. Not you even using your number, I'm gonna see if this guy has any room to move also. Because that's what we usually do, when there's 2 or 3 that are that close. So just to make sure it,
Well, I mean, I could conceivably, depending on what you're gonna say, I could conceivably say, all right, maybe we can move the range down a little bit, but I still wanna have a little range because of, things
and
like.
that's what I'm asking you right now, is there any wiggle room in your bid?
A little bit, not a lot, but a little bit maybe.
Would you like to reconsider your bid, to submit it back to us? Because I'm gonna ask this person the same question without sharing any numbers. I'm playing one of the contractors that has the 3 low bids that are a handful of dollars a pop to see if somebody can come in any better than where they are.
Well, I guess the question I would ask you would be, what if the cost of this lift is going to add to the price that I quoted you? Is that gonna be a factor?
We've already included that in there.
It would, yeah, be nothing there.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at it right now, is you guys are neck and neck. So I just want to see.
So I guess if we're talking maybe a couple of $100, I think I would, you know, there'd be a little bit, but not a lot, because again, I don't know what's gonna be behind some of these rotted boards. So in answer to your question, yes, I can't tell you exactly how much, but if it push comes to shove, then I would definitely consider it.
So Don, what I'm asking you though is, do you wanna take this back and just redo your numbers if you can?
With the price of the lift included, that it was
Yeah,
not included?
That's how we have it right now, because
Well,
that's
you
what
wanna
it
use
looks
a
like.
lift, right?
Absolutely.
We're
But
reading
you
in
might as
worst
well
case.
include it, if it runs out on
Right.
the 13th,
And
you're not
that's,
gonna have
and
enough time.
that's our point, they're almost identical.
Yeah, that's what I mean, if your lift runs out the 13th, Dawn, you're not gonna have time to get
No.
this building done before the 13th.
Correct.
So you insist on having a lift, which is fine, I don't blame you. That's fine, I don't know what the other guy's gonna do, I don't know if he's doing it off step ladder or what he's doing, I mean, we didn't even talk about it. You know, 3 sides of it, or 2 sides of it are quite low, you get those 2 gable ends, and they all gotta be visited and nailed, every inch of that has to be gone over.
Correct.
Another question, Jeff, was there was some brush against one side of the building?
Yeah, John Wigan mowed the whole area.
Oh, he did?
We just gotta cut up next to the building now.
Okay, so that's all done.
Yeah, I mean,
Cause that was part of your request too.
yeah, we gotta do a little hand trim in there now, but it's just,
I have a carpenter, even with the low sides, is not gonna get up on ladders. So it's gonna be, we're gonna utilize the lift with him in terms of, so it's easier for him and safer for him.
Okay, then, I hear a motion, if there's a motion on the table, we'll make a motion for this.
I think a motion is just to postpone for 1 week
Yep,
until we get final numbers back from both guys,
yep,
right?
yep,
So we're actually tabling it.
Table it till next week, yeah.
till next week.
So I think what Bob is asking you, Don,
I'd
since you're
just
here,
like you to look over your sheet, and give it another quick look. You guys are almost banging heads, and we'll see, it makes it a lot easier for us if there's a disparity between one and the other.
Can I just ask a question? I know this is kind of hypothetical, but are we basically talking about money here in regards to the difference with the bidders? And is that going to be the driving factor with this as far as a decision? For example, if let's say I say, I'm going to be winning a couple $100 of this, so I'm not going to have a lot of wiggle room. Is that going to be the determining factor in terms of awarding this bid? In terms of, well, he wouldn't wiggle on it and they're all the same, so.
It isn't about where, I want a firm number from you that you feel good about doing it at, and he's the same, this is the same way. He does a little bit more than you do in his
Proposal.
because yours isn't in writing, it's verbal, so it's not a contract. And this is a contract, if we decide to sign it, and he's doing a little more work than you are, so I'd like to get you to look at it, give us your best number. I'm gonna talk to him and ask him if that's his firm price, or if he has an ability to move, and we'll see where we are.
Not to keep asking you questions, what is he doing differently or more than we were offering?
Well, he's got the doors included.
But I said that I would do the doors,
You said you would do it, it's not in here.
but I will put that in there.
Again, take a look at it, give me your best number.
And, so the next week will be a decision made.
can I ask?
The only issue is, and I just want, for the record, that thing is, that there is a potential for savings of about $1,500. If we had awarded the bid to this one proposal, he could use the lift, and we could have a potential of $1,500. However, that's dependent upon weather and having enough time with the lift to finish it by the 13th. So
Right.
those are risks that we would have to take in. That's the only potential savings we may be,
well, no, and then he does offer us potential savings here depending on what he
Condition of the
gets.
building.
Yeah, the condition of the building, so there is 2 potentials of savings on his bid, to be fair,
right.
which,
But I
There
think
is
you're
no
gonna, I think
savings
you're gonna
potential
run
on the
into
other
the
one.
lift, cause you got rain predicted again next week, so, I think you're gonna be in this situation, Dawn, where you're gonna have to rent the lift. And that's why we wanna consider the lift included.
Okay, so
Can
I
I
think,
just ask a question?
please.
Did either of them say what type of product they're gonna paint it with?
Actually,
They do.
yep,
well, he's using a solid stain, and Don put a solid color after a solid coat primer.
So they use a different process.
I'm using primer, then I'm using actual paint,
Yeah,
because I wanna get more on that surface because of the T111.
yeah, he did a solid color stain, which is very close to a paint, I think.
Well, the only issue with that is that you don't get quite the thickness and quite the protection in terms of the outside elements.
Now, what about as far as it peeling off, where the solid stain probably wouldn't peel as quickly as paint, though, right?
Solid color stain can peel, because it's heavily
It's
pigmented.
fairly thick, yeah.
So that's no guarantee that it's not gonna seal.
Price-wise, I think those two products are almost identical,
This
though,
still doesn't need any.
as far as buying them,
Correct.
yeah.
Can I ask one more question?
Go for it.
So you're gonna prime the whole building first?
Correct. Well, we're gonna pressure wash, we're gonna do the
Well,
copy work,
yeah,
spot sand, prime the whole thing,
yep.
and then finish coat the entire thing. So it's gonna
And he
have,
was gonna put, what, 2 coats of solid
Stain.
Solid stain,
Let me read that one again, I'll check it for you.
third bullet down.
Is there a second for
Consensus.
Two coats
It's
of
actually not a
woodscape
motion,
solid
it's a
stain
table.
applied,
Consensus.
sprayed, and back brushed. Sherwin-Williams woodscape solid stain, applied, sprayed, and back brushed. And you were spraying and back brushing as well. I didn't bring it up because I thought that the pricing between the two.
No, I just was curious
Was
what the
about the
process.
same.
Okay. So, we're gonna defer 1 week?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Jeff. So, anything,
No, I'm just curious.
no, the thing is, I was just saying, you've been in the hot seat, but the thing is, you should look, at least the bridge is behind you.
I got over that.
So, just to help Dawn out here,
Okay.
I think, because of the timing, I'd say include the lift, so you're covered, and we'll know what the, you know, when we, you know how we award these, you've been at them. We'd like to award it with the total value in there so that you're not subtracting out the lift or adding the lift. And the other thing is, if you feel that you'd come down on that range you already have in there, give us the solid number on that range, because we have to award a number, we can't award it as a range. So,
We will probably award it on the high side of the number of your range. So, the thing is, we're gonna be budgeting for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, I'm looking for a commitment to a solid number. And then we know that's what the number is.
Okay.
like we did on the town hall, there was some potential savings there, but when we awarded that to you, we had to award it on the highest side because we couldn't go back to the voters for more money afterwards or whatnot.
Correct.
So we had to do it as one solid number with our bid, so.
so if I were to come back, and I'm just talking hypothetically, in terms of the written form, and said, okay, I'll split the difference between the low and the high range, and I'll go halfway in between that. And I'll go with that figure as far as, I'm in that range, but I'll say, all right, I will do it in the middle of that range.
And you're taking
adding
some
the lift
responsibility
in
and,
terms of that.
yeah.
So I would do that.
Well, I wanna see it in writing, so we have it next week.
I will have it in writing.
So if you do that and then add the doors on there like you already spoke about, so that's
Correct.
clear, I think,
The doors are not a big deal,
no.
but it's the unknown behind where there's rotted boards.
Yeah,
I don't
especially if
know.
you were doing the frames already.
And when you're doing that, you're writing that in anyhow, you know, and I'm sure, I don't know, but I'm gonna look at his a little closer too, I think. They're both doing the same thing, so, you know, we have an expectation, so that's why I think Dave's telling you to be slightly on the high side, you know. And it won't be the first time that someone's come in on the bid too, so.
Now, that's not to say if you use the lift and you have $500 savings at the end, you don't have to bill us for that final amount, but when we do our awarding here of it, we have to make sure that it's all included in there, so you're not coming back to the board.
So I would deduct that money if we were a shorter time frame with the lift. If United Rentals charged me less, I would deduct that.
Right.
But right now, given the timing here,
You have to
I think we're
leave it.
looking at $1,500.
Right.
That's how we looked at your
That's
bid
how we're
tonight.
looking at your number.
Yeah.
Right. So
We included that when we looked at your number, basically.
So I will. So you want me to resubmit a proposal on this with what we've talked about? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
Oh.
well, Don's here tonight. I walked the building today before I left,
The library.
the library, town library. And And I just noticed up at the soffits, there were some of the boards up there that weren't caulked when you look straight up from the bottom.
The reason, and I did that, was we went back over that in terms of brushing the soffit, the dental work and the whole thing. Some of the gaps up there are really wide, and I'm not comfortable with caulking those because they're too wide.
They'll fall out.
And I'm just, where they were narrow, I would say yes, but when they're that wide, it's not a good thing. I think it's better to let them breathe, and so that's kind of where I was at with that.
Okay, and you're still finishing up that little corner, I think you sanded one more block on the far side towards the main 13. There's one more plinth block that looked like it was unfinished there.
So where is this on,
If you went towards Route 13 side,
okay,
the far corner.
on the Robert
it's-
Rogers, that corner side?
Yeah, but it's on the front of the building where the two entrances are, on that end of the building.
Okay,
Right about head height, there's one plinth block, I think it's being filled with some filler or something, I think you might be still working on it.
or not, but I'll check it,
Okay,
because I've been over that whole thing personally, so
one of your workers might have been, it's up just above head height.
oh, not that high though.
Yep,
All right, we'll check
you
it.
can reach it from the ground.
All right, I'll check that. I thought we walked around, but I will definitely check
The
that.
white paint can give you snow
I
blind.
was
And
just gonna say.
the last thing, the dental work around the round tops is green. I think we're gonna wanna wait.
Well, you know, I'm not gonna say anything because
He doesn't count.
I made a decision on this, because we talked about the corbels as far as on the side here with the gray, and there was a lot of people, vast majority that wanted it, but then there was some that did not, and so it was like, okay, to keep everybody happy, let's just do white. My feeling, I feel very strongly about this, that the green picks up the front doors, which allows, when people are going by, to see the architecture in the front with those two landings. And so I think it would be a huge mistake to go back to white in that. I think that it really, and from the comments that I've gotten, people like it a lot. And I think it adds to the building because everything else except for the doors are white, is white. So I hope that you don't say, we're ordering you to change that to white. I think it's a big mistake. And I took it upon myself, we two-coated it, and I think it makes the building. But
The only problem I have, Don, is, for 200 years, those buildings, that one for 100 years and another one 100 years before that, they've all been white, and I have a problem as a selectman making that decision without it going to, and we don't have time for this, to send it out to the whole town or go to a town meeting and vote on it. And so, 200 years is a long time to have a building white and somebody to change the color on it, and I don't, we could get hung out to dry at town meeting for making a decision like that, where if it's white, it's always been white. So, that's where I'm coming from with that. Now, a handful of people, 50, 25 people saying, hey, I like it, that's not something that I think that I can go with. Nothing against what you did. Personally, I like the looks of it, especially on the lower ones. I didn't like it at the top ones, but I don't think it's something that I can feel comfortable with going through without having a decision from the townspeople, Don. That's my only, giving you my background on it, that's how I feel with it. It's been white for 100
That's
years.
what I thought.
I respect that. I will also say that when we did the town hall, we talked about accents in terms of going subtle, and we went subtle, and everybody is good with that, and this is subtle, it doesn't like jump out, and because it's been like that for 100 years, I get that, but this is subtle, it does put our identity on a little bit, I think it adds to the building. I made that decision, and probably I acted in haste, but it's like we did it here, and nobody's complaining about it here, so it's pretty much the same thing over there, and it's subtle. So that's how I view it. And I understand what you're saying, that, well, you kind of just jumped ahead with doing this. It's where, yeah, I did, but we're trying to make it.
I understand what you're doing. I'm thinking, I'm kind of trying to think for the whole town, Don, and like, this isn't a historic district, but if it was, you probably wouldn't be able to make it anything but white. So, I don't know, I'm torn between it, but
Leave it?
I just want you to, you know, give it some thought, because it puts us in a tough position with the townspeople as well, because,
Yeah, and unfortunately, the process should have been, you should have at least come to us. You know,
well, I think that he did come to us earlier with the top.
And we, yeah, but,
That was
no,
vetted.
then we decided,
Yeah.
because historically it was always white. Now, if he was gonna do that, he should have come back to us and, rather than just doing it, you know, unfortunately.
I agree with that. The only thing I could say is that when we did the corbels, the gray, we discussed it, and then it was pretty much like, okay, let's get it painted and let's try it and see what it looks like. And then there was this survey done, with a written survey, and it was pretty much like 11 to 2, 12 to 2, 12 to 3, or whatever. But it was like, well, why offend 3 or 4 people? Why don't you just go back to white? So then my thought was, how about if we did something a little bit less like subtle in terms of this, and that way we kind of pacify everybody.
Don, now, just so you're aware of this, I knew nothing about this survey.
Same here.
I had no idea
Same
anybody
here
did
till
a
I
survey,
heard
and I would have never let it done, you know, at that small of a.
The thing is, I initiated the survey with the patrons of the library. And the thing is, people will come in, the library director has worked with me just to get an opinion. In other words, we have 3 opinions here, we vary in our opinions. So I wanted more of just a snapshot of people, of patrons of the library. And Mary kept a good tally of, she asked people what they thought about it. And she shared that with Don, and obviously was going that majority of the people, it was almost 50-50, but kind of leaning more towards the white. So Don read that and he reacted appropriately to it. So thank you for, without even being told we were going to go to white, he had already painted them white again. So, because he got through the grapevine, through Mary, the library director, that it was going towards white. And so he reacted appropriately to it. That was a snapshot.
Can I just add one thing?
Sure.
You saw how much trouble I got in over rocks and dirt. I don't know how you did take a chance like that. I don't know how you took a chance like that.
No, I don't wanna be that way.
Okay.
So I just,
Noted.
You know, John, and the thing is, when people see that, and they wonder why the different colors, sometimes they come here, and then they're challenging us as to why is the library two
It most
colors or
likely
whatever.
won't get back to you, but it'll definitely get back to us,
You know.
whether it's at town meeting or one of these meetings, you know, 2 months down the road, saying, what were you guys thinking? And, you know, you took a historic building and you changed the dental work, and, you know, we can pacify people and send them down the road, but at some point,
I just have one thing to add as a resident.
Sure.
I noticed that when I walked out of the town hall, this town hall, I looked up and saw it, and I said, wow, that's a different color. And I looked at it for a minute, and I kind of forgot about it by the time I got in my vehicle. I mean, I noticed it stuck out as different, I'm like, oh, I looked at that, I really didn't have much opinion on it.
Because it was subtle.
Yeah, I saw it, and I just kind of looked, and I didn't know what color it was really, and I got in my vehicle and drove away.
I didn't know until I was walking, I looked at the doors look beautiful, by the way.
well, we're trying to get the flow with the doors to the green, so people's view looks up to see the architecture around those landings, so that it's not just a completely, totally white building with just green doors, that, all right, something a little offset on a subtle basis to offset the white, but it's very subtle. I mean, I guess my feeling is that if somebody's gonna object to it, all right, but I'm just saying is that, what about Mary? Does she have any major say in this relative to the fact that she's the director of the library there?
No,
No,
it's more the townspeople, the people that.
Thing is,
the town owns the building.
Gentlemen, I'd like to just table this discussion to next week, since John will be here next week, we'll convene on this.
I'll make one good point. The fire escape looks good black.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad you pleased with something.
I'm in agreement with that too, it does look nice black.
But the thing is, it was white.
So, I mean, that was changed, so it's like,
It's not original.
Point taken, yes.
Yeah, but it makes it look sturdy.
and the ramp has changed too, so I mean,
See, so you've got two changes, why not put the other one back?
I'll resubmit, that proposal for next week.
Don, please don't go ahead and just paint it just now, just let it sit for a
I
week.
truly hope that you know a change.
Okay,
All right,
Thank you.
all right, let's keep going on the agenda.
No, thank you.
Bob, come on up. You're not talking about paint and rocks, you better have something good.
What'd you do to the lake now?
Yeah,
I didn't do anything. I have a good news for you. The lake is 100% clean. And I have a letter here from Amy Smagula. I gave a copy to Lean already.
nice.
Just got this.
Excellent.
And I'm
So they treated it in the spring and then they came back and checked it.
Amy just came back and checked it. It says on here, I surveyed it this morning and that was today.
And it came in under budget, right?
It came in under budget.
Yeah.
On time and under budget, yes.
Now, this is supposed to, as I recall, more than have a longevity of more than 1 year.
Right, yes.
Indeed.
We're hoping to.
Right.
And Lou DeBarrio is passing the mantle to me.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, or condolences, whatever the case may be. But we're gonna work with Lean.
Okay,
We'll do the same thing, but instead of Lou having to come up here,
okay.
I'm taking over everything as far as the milfoil, the scheduling of the lake hosting at the ramps and that type of thing. So it's gonna be about a year transition. I'm already doing the boat ramp now anyway, using Sign Up Genius and trying to get people to, cover for the weekends. And that's working out good because Sign Up Genius sends them an email reminder for whatever time frame they sign up for, so that works out really good. But Lou just has too much on his plate. He's works quite heavily with Habitat for Humanity, and all he really needed to do was tell me, but
I know, I was trying to get him to do
I
that.
know, he just danced around it.
So I understand you have some donations too?
Yes, I do.
You have a check here tonight?
I do.
Okay, then is it for $130?
It is indeed.
I'll make a motion then, Mike.
Okay,
Make a motion per RSA 31:95-B, Roman numeral 3, paragraph B, to accept a donation in the amount of $130 to be deposited into the CRF established for the maintenance and control of invasive plant species.
Right. And these proceeds are from the Gorham Pond residents as a goodwill gesture. July 21st, we had a yard sale and everybody kind of did their own thing, and I went around and collected money for about like a $10 thing from everybody. Not as much as we had last year, so I don't think we'll probably be doing it a third year. We had
do
300.
you need more muscle?
I need more clubs. More clubs.
Wait for some- No second.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Thank you,
All in
Bob.
favor of accepting the dollars?
Aye.
Aye. Lean.
Just so you know, that'll go into the general fund and that will be written to be deposited into the milfoil CRF at town meeting.
Gotcha.
That's the
Okay.
process.
And I also understand we have a grant for next year.
Yes, I'm working on that with Lean. We've got to have it in by the 17th.
Before you in that packet.
It
We
should
need
be
to
in the
sign it
packet.
tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
This is just no commitment, just a preliminary. She has to get a head count of who's interested and, no, that's not it.
No.
Who's interested in staying on the list?
Staying on the list, correct.
Yeah.
It should have a flag on it. You took everything out of the basket.
I
right?
surely
Yeah,
did.
it was like,
No flag was in there. But the thing's, okay, we have to get that signed, and we'll get that in
Yeah,
the
the
works.
deadline is the 17th. It looks something like this.
Okay.
Did you
I
make it?
printed it, it's in
You
there.
print, yeah, okay.
Somebody's got it.
All right, who took it, gentlemen?
We'll put something with a flag.
The flag.
Jeff, you did it? No. Oh, you've been in the middle of everything tonight. I'm sorry. You've been in the middle of everything.
All right, I'll go get it.
Nothing was put in my box tonight.
Wait, it's under the dirt and the rocks.
yeah, probably.
Okay,
Oh,
so good.
Green.
Do you anticipate any of the funds from this year lapsing? Not lapsing, but not expending all of the funds?
Oh, yes, definitely. We had the treatment work very, very well. Everything looks really good, as Amy said, it's clean. We have.
So remember, those dollars will go into the general fund, and then it'll be voted into the CRF.
Right, into the CR. Yeah, that's fine, sure.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
This is the new, they used the new chemical
Yes.
for this year, right?
Yes.
This is the first, oh, okay, so that's pretty good results.
Yeah,
Well, they
very
didn't
good.
have much in there anyway, though.
No,
you know.
no.
It was very small amount left.
Oh,
But
right.
if it lasts, that's gonna be the test of time.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the milfoil wasn't as bad this year.
No,
No, it was very good last
it
year.
was way down because of the weather conditions.
The weather
last
conditions
year.
and everything, right. We did have the pond closed on an unrelated item to do with the bacteria count, but that was, we also had 2 families of geese plus a whole gaggle of ducks that decided to take residence, and with the heat and the stagnant water,
Yeah.
the whole state had problems. I mean, Hampstead, Manchester, everybody had a pond closed, so that situation was cleared up. It only took about 3 weeks for that to clear up.
So that's been filled out with you as the contact.
And do I need to sign it too, or is just?
Nope,
We
just the
didn't have
selectmen, and I'll
consensus
scan
on
it to you,
that,
so you'll have a
Okay,
copy.
that'd be great.
We'll wait for it. Do we have a consensus, gentlemen, that we apply for the grant? There's nothing binding now, it's
Yes.
just, okay. I was getting a little flack on this side over here. I won't tell you who, but it was on this side.
It was me.
Let Jeff sign it.
No, blame Jeff.
Let Jeff sign it. Take the fall.
Blame the stone guy.
I don't know why you said something, we'll let him pay for it anyway.
But
Since he
Lucenberry
signed
always
it,
assured
right?
me he's not throwing me to the wolves, we're still gonna be in constant contact, that type of thing, and
Now, you're a resident,
I'm resident of
so
town of Gorham
at
Ponce.
town meeting, you won't have to.
I won't have to ask permission, I can just, speak for it, and I will be speaking instead of Lou this time, because you won't have to ask permission.
I just have a curiosity question. So, given the information you have at hand right now, what do you think the game plan will be for next year?
Right now, it's kind of a jump ball, only because,
You don't know what you're gonna have till next year, right?
well, almost, I mean, like we've seen in the past, you have a bad summer, and all of a sudden it blows up. I mean,
Yeah.
my wife and I have been out sometimes in the years past, we go over an area, and 2 weeks later, it's as big as this building, and it
Yeah.
wasn't there 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
So depending on the heat, the winter we have, we've got, it's a lot of variables,
Yeah.
but,
Just to be treated.
yeah,
to stay on top.
you don't wanna jinx yourself,
No,
like
no,
somebody, putting the
Yeah,
Super
no,
Bowl
I didn't know
53 in
of
their
it.
sleeve, but
Yeah.
right now, it looks pretty good between the,
But there's a potential that we may not even have to use the grant, because we may not have to do anything.
right,
So,
but
can I
this way,
ask-
by applying for it, we're,
Oh, yeah, it makes
we're one
sense.
of 43 towns, so that's a good thing.
Just said it.
What is this native bladderwort that is milfoil-like?
It's
though?
non-invasive.
It's
so.
non-invasive,
It
it
isn't.
looks like it, right?
Okay,
We haven't had, just amongst ourselves here, we've had all the boat inspections we've had, we've yet to find any milfoil going in or coming out. So wherever the fishermen are going, or the kayakers, or whatever, it's not coming in and out, and especially now where Amy's checked it. We also, I got an email, Lou sent me an email from a couple of the local residents, our weed watchers, and they did check the other ponds too, and there's no milfoil in there, but the main concern, of course, is Gorham, but just an FYI. And they will continue. Lou's told them that I'm taking over him, and Pete and Lois will be in touch with me. They take their kayaks to all the other ponds in general.
Good way to spread it.
No, the kayak is pretty safe, unless you got a brother.
Well, thank you, and the thing is, it's just, budget season is coming up, so don't make sure when you get on the agenda, be here.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
Not a problem.
it's good news, it's like,
Yeah.
I like having good news now and then.
Ah, good news is a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bob, for your patience.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you for your
Hey,
patience.
talk about revenues for tax rate setting.
Yes, this time of the year, the board has to review the actual revenues collected to date. We're coming up shortly to set the tax rate. When you met before at town meeting, you submitted an MS 636, which included the operating budget and the projected revenues. The revenue report for actual collection through today, I've entered everything I have available, has to be reported on the MS 434, which is referred to as revised estimated revenue. So.
And so you have that as a draft.
Yeah, and the draft has no numbers in it, just what was presented at from town meeting, from the 636. So if you go to the BMSI actual anticipated revenue report, I'll just go over the different categories that I have highlighted from the system.
Okay.
First category is land use change tax. We budgeted 60,000, we came in at 97,750. So we're up 37,750.
What is this form here?
This is the one that was, we.
Submitted at town meeting.
Town meeting, you signed that.
Right, I saw that.
Right,
So
this is an estimate,
prior year, we're the ones we signed,
yeah,
right?
estimated, right?
And that's part of it, right
Okay.
there.
Estimated revenues?
And then when we go to set the tax rate in October, we use a different form, but we have to make the decision based on whether we're under or over on our projections.
15, okay.
So it's easiest to go follow the,
Yellow
the
highlight sheet.
BMSI highlighted yellow sheet. I just wanted to put the pieces together so you understood where I was, so. Land use change tax, we always budget item, money there. We, budgeted 60,000, cause obviously, even with 22 homes being disqualified, 50% of it goes to the, conservation. So I budgeted 50%, at 60,000. We came in at 97,750, so we're up
So
on that.
far,
Yep, I don't know that there's that much left out
now
there.
why do you put the 37,750 in parentheses?
That's the way the system just does, it says we're over collected.
Normally that's a negative, correct?
On a different accounting system, but
Alright.
this is, overage. The yield tax, we've had a slow year, we usually budget 10,000, we've only come in at 48,984. We do have 3 months ahead of us, there are about, 10 timber cuts out there, so there's potential for a little bit more revenue, but we're down by 5,100. Other tax, payment in lieu of tax, that's the one that we received for the flood control. That came in, we had 2 installments, so we don't typically budget anything there, because we don't know what that number will be, but we're up 5,235, so that's kind of a wash on the yield tax. Moving down to the next category, it's 3190 that's reported to the state. Our system breaks them out in eaches. We budget just the 15,000 and 11,000 for a total of 26,000 for this category. And currently we're at 25,247, so we have we're down a small amount of $752. Next page, we have business licenses. Because that's a code reported to the state under 3220, we use one line item, put it under motor vehicle permits. The system breaks them out separately. So if you look at the bottom line, 60,000 was our current year estimated budget. We're currently at 507,804. That's a deficiency of 92,195. I checked her clerk's last 3 months average, came in at 48,486. And she's been pretty much on the mark or a little bit higher. So I think it's very reasonable that we will see 145,000 in the next 3 months collected for it. So we'll be right on the mark, I think, for it.
How did you get to 145 when you show 48 just above it?
Well, it's an
41.
average, and we're short 92. So I think between the fact that last year we collected 145 in the last 3 months.
Oh, we did 145?
Yeah, and then this year we only have outstanding 92, we should come in at our mark.
Okay.
Next category, building permits. We always budget 30,000, we're at 29,952, so 3
Spot on.
months left, we'll be really good there. Next category, other licenses is reported under 3290. We budgeted 10,000, we are at 10,294, so we're above our other licenses combined. Next category is highway block grant, reported under 3353 category. We always round that number to a $90,000 range. Our last 2 outstanding payments for October and December are $30,777 each, so we will be collecting another $61,554, and our outstanding currently is $49,869.
Lean, a question on that.
Yep,
We got an additional grant of 85,000 last year.
that is not included in this, and I was not allowed to include it in our revenue.
Okay, and that was supposedly passed by the governor. Have we seen anything on that?
I checked with Brian, he said he doesn't anticipate anything, because he works at DOT, and he's not heard of anything.
Brian who?
Brian Pike. Because he would be.
So the governor approved it, and we don't think we're gonna see it.
What we received, the 85,000 was for last year.
Right. And the governor approved it again this year.
I haven't seen any of that information, have you?
I heard something about it, but I don't know if it's tied strictly to bridges this year or not.
usually
It
we,
was for bridges, roads and all that.
Yeah,
maintenance.
we won't see it until like November, I think it's late in the
Yeah.
year we see it.
Yeah.
There
I
was
haven't
talk
heard-
that
I mean-
he signed it again, but
Yeah.
those.
Is there anybody at the state we can follow up without Brian?
No, I don't know of anybody, but.
Our representative, one
I
of our
was gonna
reps,
say, there's a lot of people working.
I know there are.
we can get one of our reps to do it, maybe Mary Beth Wallace.
Okay,
Just so we can, I know it was late in the year, November, October, somewhere
It
in
was
there.
like- I think it was about now that the check
Even
showed up.
JR may be able to find, have connections too. He's
They-
our
Because
representative.
I think they notified us, we earmarked it for you, and then we got the check in.
It's like the year.
As additional revenue for.
Above me,
We had to go
Yeah.
through that
yeah,
process.
but even if we do collect that, that's not typically reported with our.
Right,
our-
no, I was just asking while we were on that.
Okay.
Next
Okay.
page,
Where am I?
flood control.
Flood control and rooms and meals, so the next two categories reported under 3357 and 3359. Those are conservative numbers we use regularly. I have seen more collected at tax rate setting, but we don't know that concrete number until we're setting, the tax rate.
So we have nothing there,
Those are, yeah, those are outstanding,
Set by the state though, not us.
set by the state, correct,
and we normally get that amount.
correct.
Okay,
I feel comfortable that we don't see a decrease in those. I
okay.
think we probably would hear something about that. Next category, income from departments are broken out in the system. They're reported under 3401. We typically budget 30,000 and then 30,000 for recycling, for a $60,000 category, projected revenue. We're at $41,212, outstanding of $18,874. Revenues collected to date are through today, leaving 3.5 months, average of 5,367 a month, and I think that's very,
Is it per week or per month?
didn't I cross it out, I didn't cross it out on yours, yeah, per month.
Per month. Okay.
So I think that that's something that's very,
It's not per week.
oh, I didn't cross it out on mine.
That's all right.
Not mine.
Okay, next category is 3501, that is just a pass-through account, basically. We collect revenue for sale of, monuments, and it's to offset the expense. Back page, we have interest on deposits, we always, budget a conservative line item of $1,000, we've collected $2,314, and that's basically the added investment that the treasurer has been, trying to recoup with, her investment. Next category, 3503, I budgeted 2,700 for a 6-month period, not knowing where we were heading with the rental. He has been on his game with making sure he's paying his rent, so we're above,
Is that the one you can move on?
yes. So we're up $900 based on the current, and we have 3 months remaining for payments. So then at the bottom, on that third line from the right, we have currently, well, actually, the current budget proposed at town meeting was $1,094,700. The current year-to-date budget is $777,033. We add the highway block rent of $61,554. We add the meals and rooms estimated at $130. We add the flood control estimated at $70. We come up to $1,038,587. Estimated revenues that were presented at town meeting was $1,094,700, so we are deficient by $56,113. Divide that by 3 months, we're looking at $18,704 per month to meet the projected revenues. So personally, I would recommend to the board, no changes to report on the MS 434 form used to report the revised revenues to the Department of Revenue.
No, these are under.
No changes. I
Correct.
would say with the small amount for what we have currently to date, with 3 months outstanding, I would say just go with what we projected for.
And this is your draft.
Well, I haven't entered the numbers yet, but I want to show you that 636 that we use at town meeting has to be reported, revised on the
For
434.
an educational standpoint, why would we change it? Let's say it was just the opposite, we were having more revenues. Why would we change the report?
The only time I've heard the board consider any decision is if they really had a downfall of revenue. If you didn't get any you lost a lot of vehicle registration, you didn't see any growth, If you're underneath, then you don't want to deplete your surplus, because that's what you're gonna be forced to do.
The 56K, if we don't get that, will be coming out of our surplus.
Surplus, that's correct. Yep.
But
But we have 3 months,
And it's a small amount.
and it's a very small amount.
And we were very, very conservative.
Yeah.
Most likely we should,
Well,
Spot
our
on.
revenue will continue
Spot
to
on.
be added to our surplus going through February, because once we set our tax rate and we have the warrant issued, any of the interest and other things that are accruing will be backdated to this calendar year's additional revenue. And we should, I did not get that financial report from the auditor as I was hoping today, so I expect to have that next week, and that will show us the true surplus of what we have after we've allocated some of it towards our operating budget at town meeting. So,
This is, we're going back 1 year in arrears.
correct, and what we'll get on our report from the auditor on the 535 is 2017 surplus,
And that's what we'll be paying our bills if we have to.
correct.
That's true.
okay.
So with the board.
Thank you for giving us that, Lean, getting us up to date on that, that'll help come the
Yep.
end of the year.
So what's the consensus of the board?
No changes.
No changes. Beautiful. Okay, that's what I need to know, one more, and I'll have the final copy ready for you to sign. Actually, I
And
think
thanks for giving us the
I have to sign.
update on the expenses for the
Yeah.
town buildings as well.
Yep, that again, general government buildings, I do show that we still have my records, one outstanding payment due to, close out the cost for, the library, and that's where I get a little confused with his proposals, that he'll do a minimum, maximum, but then when he lays out the payment plan, he's asking us to pay the maximum, so when I see him tomorrow, I'm going to ask him to bill us for the last payment, because if it's under his anticipated, he gives us that window, but the payment schedule puts us at the top.
Right. That's why I think Bob put it to the floor today.
I don't like seeing that kind of a range in a bid,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Especially when you're asking for a
So-
payment plan that exceeds the maximum, so he's gonna look at that.
Yeah, we
as
had
well.
that before, we had to deal with it, so I think it's good to get a higher number.
All right, a couple of maintenance projects I still waiting on, the siding for the safety center.
Yeah,
There's a painting at the, I need painting quotes for the small painting job at the transfer station.
that's the front of the building, right?
I believe so.
Is that what you said, Dave, the front, you'd like to try to
Yes,
get
that's
some
correct,
quotes?
yep.
And the thing is, I'm looking at else, what else was hot we wanted to get finished up this
Lean,
year.
when they, sorry, Mike.
No, go ahead.
Lean, when they provide you with those new bids this year, maybe you could have them go right down and take a look at the front face of that building.
Okay,
And, provide us estimates, tell them we'd like to try and get budgeted for the
Okay.
end of the year.
Okay, so I'm gonna go right into the mailbox, but the thing is, gentlemen, please take a look for next week. Let's discuss if there's any maintenance projects that you think that should be, we should execute before the end of the year. Please be prepared to discuss it next week, aside from the ones identified tonight. I'm gonna go right to the inbox. As I said, we're still waiting on more quotes for the siding estimates. The health trust rates are coming out early October, Bob, Dave, so we're gonna address health plans in October. We got a notification that they anticipate that. Primex is also, in October, they also have new town insurance rates coming in October. Brace yourself. Insurance, lovely. We have one injury report this week, it was an eye injury. No treatment was required, but this is just to go in his personal record. You can read that at your leisure,
Can I ask a question
please.
yeah,
as we're jumping around? We've already adopted the personnel plan, I
Yes,
thought
we
at the
have.
last meeting.
we did,
we did.
we did,
Okay.
but with.
Just wanna make sure.
Yep,
We
yep,
were just signing the changes, Bob.
Right, I know, I
Yeah.
just, because it's written here.
I asked Mike that
Yeah.
as well.
sign adopted personnel plan, I think you adopted it, didn't you?
Yes, we
Yes.
did.
Okay,
Okay, there is Mike did do a walk around of the painting of the building. Probably wanna read that, you can please share that with the painter tomorrow.
yeah,
And then regarding Bob, since Bob was talking about the personal plan, we did make changes to the plan which may have physical impact on our budget year end. In other words, specifically the comp time, make sure the department heads know that, please identify that, one, they either have to encourage use of the comp time and plan for payment at the end of the year within their budget,
Yeah, it has to stay within the budget.
as best they can.
Yeah, I don't think we wanna encourage.
No, if they got comp time, let them take leave if they have to.
Did you read this,
Vacation.
Dave? You did, huh?
What was that one?
Oh, this
It's
is
the,
the report of the
Mike,
I did read
Mike's
that.
walk around. I didn't notice that there was a window broken.
yeah, that was there last year,
Oh, it was? Okay, good, so.
was there last year.
Okay,
Same window?
same one, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go to public comment now. We wanna start with Leo.
You gonna put a framer on that?
I should.
I'll work on it.
The police warrant?
Yeah. Been there
Oh,
long
that
enough.
one?
Been there long enough, I may as well frame it.
I've taken pictures.
Last week, last
Evidence.
meeting, it could have been framed.
Yeah.
We discussed it
I
last
know
week.
I've watched every meeting except for last week's, because
2 weeks ago.
my guy didn't show up.
I know, what can I say, you missed some fun. Okay. Sir, welcome, do you have any comments?
Who the hell are you talking to? Sir? Wow.
That's John Hurley,
I know.
but for the record. Jen.
Anything for the group, sir?
Oh, not tonight.
Okay. Jeff, you'll have final comments before we.
I have
go into
two
the-
questions.
Okay,
The first, this painting deal. We're talking about two different processes, and I know a little bit about painting, but a lot of people have told me a lot of different things. We got a guy that's gonna put 2 coats of a solid stain on there. Another individual recommends doing a coat of primer and a coat of paint. What will happen, just looking further ahead, that if we have to do this building again, what would you have to put over paint next time around? Cause I know some of this stuff is.
Can't go backwards, paint becomes
Exactly.
paint. But I will say, solid stain is very close nowadays to paint.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and
He is
it's-
right, solid stain can flake and peel
No,
and
I-
crack.
I don't- but-
I'm thinking that was done with a solid stain.
But you gotta remember, that's not a smooth finish either.
Rough
So that solid stain will last a long time.
Much better on.
Go look-
Oh, yeah, it'll
That's
absorb
what I
and
think,
last
I
long.
wanna be careful that we don't lock ourselves into something I wish we had.
Remember me asking him, both products are within the same cost. That's why I
Yeah.
didn't bring it up as a concern.
Yeah,
And
no, that's why I wanted to find out
We
what his
can
process was.
require him to do that, I think, if we wanted to.
Hey,
I mean,
Jeff,
I just,
you know when you go by my place and you see that,
Yeah.
my workshop, the garage?
Yeah.
That was done 10 years ago, 2 coats of solid stain.
yeah,
It's not peeling.
I would recommend that on that. Of
Yeah.
course, the downside of that building is, it's not all brand new.
Right.
If it was all brand new wood, it would adhere differently than that, 'cause then
Okay,
who
it's gonna
who knows
suck
what
it
the
up.
was.
Well,
It's rough
The
though.
first coat will suck right in, the
Yeah.
second coat will be
Right
good.
up.
You know,
he's coming tomorrow. Should we ask him to change the bid to blue stain? We wanna be consistent.
No, you let him bid the way he's bidding.
Okay.
I just, that's, I have a concern about that, I don't know which is the best way to go, and I've heard a lot of different things, and Dave, that's what I had heard, you can't go over it afterwards.
No, once it's painted.
It was the whole
Right,
thing with
you're
lead,
stuck,
and
yeah.
not lead, but oil and latex, but I guess
yeah,
the oil's pretty much gone
that's,
now.
yeah, that's.
They put a
That's,
primer
that's pretty well gone now, so, anyway, that,
as a top coat.
yeah, I had a hard time with Don, he wanted to do a higher level of the job on that. I tried to reel him in a little bit.
Now,
He was very concerned about his reputation.
since,
Rightfully so, because I mean, he does great work. I mean,
Yeah, right,
I
but
told him that this will not be a reflection on him if it doesn't look like the town hall.
can I ask you one question that we
Yeah.
might not get to ask them directly if they don't show up?
Yep.
Don did specify a little better how he was gonna nail those sheets off that they were loose.
Yep.
Did the other guy talk about that as much, because a lot of them sheets I think are buckled and loose?
Yeah, they are, and a lot of them aren't gonna go back.
Right,
I mean, you'll have to pull the nail out, put another nail in.
I didn't read, in that bid where
I
he said.
told the guy I
anything
didn't
about
want him using screws, because those screw, if you put a screw in with those, the heads will go right in that suck and they break the head down. You really gotta nail it. And he didn't have much reaction one way. Yeah, he just looked at him and said, there's quite a few of them. And I said, yeah, the gable ends are pretty bad. You're gonna have to go around when you're up there, do all of it. He didn't elaborate on anything.
that. Lean, do you think, since we're asking them to look at it again, can you ask him to elaborate a little bit on fastening the?
He had no concerns with the lift.
This is the first one? Oh, this is just the second paint or the first one?
The
This is reliable.
reliable. The whole lift thing didn't even come into play.
So you want me
So
to
I don't
ask
know
him
what
to
his
elaborate
plan is.
on the fastening,
Refastening of the texture 111 that's buckled.
and if there's any wiggle?
Basically, it's on the older building, which is a shiplap from years and years ago, from the eighties, when they put it up, and a lot of it was stapled, and then it has been re-nailed, so, but whatever, all needs to be addressed.
Is wiggle room the best name we can find?
No,
for that?
I'll talk to her after.
Okay,
What, is what?
Wiggle room the best.
No, basically, the thing is, the bids were competitive,
Yeah.
price-wise, we
He
wanna.
was here sitting here, that's why I used that word.
Well, anyway, that was part one. Part two, now we got that resolved. Am I gonna be in suspense here? Can we know what the outcome of the court case was, or is this like
No.
sealed?
The court case basically declared the road, Kelsey Road, the disputed portion, a road. And that's,
I found out, Jeff, just to get you in the loop, my nephew came over last Saturday and said, hey, the posts are all
Oh, okay.
out. And I said, how can they be out? I went and got a coffee at 10:30 last night and the posts were in. He says, I'm telling you, I just went through there, I didn't see them. So he left and he sent me a picture and all but 2 posts were removed. And I was concerned last week and I was a little preoccupied. I was gonna call these guys to have you guys come down because the holes were left unfilled, 24 to 30-inch holes where if somebody was walking, you could
Yeah.
go down in them.
he told it.
And I looked at him yesterday and he filled the holes.
Oh, okay. So
So all but 2 posts have been removed. So the court found that the right-of-way, property lines, and road are all as they are on our town maps and everything else. So all of those maps that were provided that showed the road going down between the barn and the house were accurate. And he
Okay,
determined that that road going to the Goffstown line in front of Guyaney's house is not a town road.
so, okay, a step further, what do we do for the turnaround?
That was my question, because turnaround, I think turnaround would have to go into his property again. It would have to go beyond the road, correct?
Well, to make it functional and work, yes.
well, to take one step back, Mike's appealed it, so.
Yeah,
just-
but
You just
I
can't,
was just wondering what it
don't
was.
change the turnaround until we
No.
find out.
No, I don't intend to, but,
To take you another step back,
yep,
that was determined by the judge,
yep,
because I provided 28 maps, tax maps, town maps, atlases,
Yep.
since 1858. That was shown on maps as a town road going between the barn and the house, coming
Yep.
down onto my property.
mhm,
And that being said, that portion of the road, because it's non-use, as we know, lapses to a class 6 road. But the portion of road that was used in front of his barn was also used for a turnaround. So because it was shown in the court case and by the judge's order to be used as a public highway, the maintenance was done by the town and public use in those areas, it also includes, I believe, that turnaround. Now, the judge didn't state anything about the turnaround,
I was gonna
but if you look at the findings of the road, the turnaround's just like the road.
That's something I would like to have legal counsel go into, because
Yeah.
the judge basically.
because that's key to this whole thing.
Correct, and because, going on someone's property, it was one thing to
Yeah.
make the road, but the road doesn't.
50-foot.
It's 50-foot road,
Right.
but the thing is, once you go into someone's property for turnaround, it becomes another story, and so we could get it.
So
into a
there's no gray areas, the judge said it's 100%, that is Kelsey Road.
Right, but,
No gray
but he
area.
didn't talk about the turnaround, and I
Yeah,
think that's the issue
Why
on
would you miss
table.
that?
Because
That's
if you
critical.
look at, we asked him for where Kelsey Road went, we didn't ask him where the
Oh.
turnaround went. And our fund attorney did these work for us, so I don't even think we should ask our town attorney for that answer. I think we should start getting correct legal counsel from day one right now, because that town attorney has sent us down the wrong road, stating that he
No
didn't
pun
believe that
intended.
would be, stating that he
Alright.
didn't believe that town road could be.
Regardless, it's pretty evident then, the judge he decided on where the road is. The road's where the road is, so that's not gonna change. We still need a place to turn around.
Yeah.
Correct.
Now,
That's,
I mean, turn around from his barn, there'll probably be pushback. I mean, and
That's-
especially now.
I anticipate,
'Cause I'm not on this.
I would anticipate that,
Yeah.
and the thing is, that needs to be delineated and cleared out before you even plow the first day.
Well, that's what I mean, it's something we gotta think about.
Well, it's not just plowing, it's maintenance. Now
We
that
still
he's,
have to turn around when we go down.
now I'm gonna tell you, the judge has determined that that's not a town road in front of his house.
Yeah.
So that turnaround that was provided was only supposed to be there for 1 year and then brought
it's
back
expired.
to his, it's expired, but that was supposed to be brought back to original condition if it was not used.
Yeah,
So we're talking about bringing gravel to this property. and
see,
it's
I
all
didn't
gonna
know
evolve into
I didn't know
something
what the
bigger.
decision was until now.
So what I'm saying is, by rights,
Well,
the
they-
town can't turn around where they were.
Now, the thing is, we need, Lean, I'd like to have the original agreement, which I've never seen before, for the turnaround that was created.
Yeah.
It was for the 1 year,
Yeah,
and I want to see it was specifically determined that it would be returned to the original state.
It was.
I just wanna make sure.
I can't remember what it says
Yeah.
exactly. I just know it had an expiration date.
Because that
I thought it was odd that the
that-
attorney put that on there.
That would essentially eliminate the gravel you extracted from there. Which complicates the whole matter too. Dave, the thing is, in all fairness, the turnaround could be on your property.
Yes.
Well, not really.
Well, the thing is, it goes down.
no,
It could be, yes.
Well, it could be, as we talked about before, like when I did my thing, I provided an easement, which Jeff and I agreed was on the wrong side again. Going to the left, we'd have to go down and go on the right, but if it becomes an issue, we can work that out. But I'm telling you right now, just like the road, you've been doing it a long time. I was right, nobody listened to me. Listen to me now. The town turned around there.
Well, I
Since the
guess-
first road agent we ever had, and we can continue turning there.
No, but I'm not trying to argue with you, Dave.
I know, I'm just telling you.
I'm gonna tell you how
Our
this is
town
gonna
has
go. It's
rights.
pretty obvious how this is gonna go for us. There's gonna be obstructions put there.
Well,
on
he
the
just took
property
them
line.
all out.
You could park a car right there.
Well, I haven't been down to see. I don't know what's gonna happen. Once it comes to the time for us to start.
No, I'm in agreement with you, Jeff, we should look for a better place to have it that can't ever go away.
Exactly.
That somebody can't be a pain to you, like,
yeah, have it recorded.
Exactly.
have it recorded so nobody can,
Well,
you
that's
know,
what we're
like you
doing
say,
with
put a car in the
Purgatory
way.
Pond, before we accept that, we're
Yeah.
gonna have it in black and white.
That's all I just wanted to know. Now, I didn't even know what the finding was. And I know it's not cast in stone because he has his right to appeal it and how that all plays
And
out.
that lasts.
So you're right, now I get why the hesitation. See, I didn't know that part of this
Okay.
equation. That's why I couldn't understand it. I was like, if I had known that, I wouldn't have said, let's take it down, wait and see what happens. Because it may go right, may have to reclaim it. and
That's
put
why
it
I want
back.
to see, we should probably
But I didn't know
give you the
that.
documentation.
I was out of the loop on that.
How come you guys didn't include Jeff?
I think you were
I got
part
it
of it
Tuesday.
when are you talking about the final decision?
On what?
What are you asking?
On the road, how come Jeff's the road agent, how come nobody told?
Well, I just got it in the mail, my email
Tuesday.
today. Oh, actually, I got it yesterday and I didn't.
Well, you knew the other day, because I asked you, and you said, oh, I'll let the selectmen decide. Tell you. That's what you told me.
Yeah,
So
But I hadn't read it.
waited,
I hadn't
till-
read it.
I waited, and then nobody brought it up, so I said, I'll bring it up now before I go home.
okay.
Okay, all right, but he did remove the post. Well, I got
He
it.
left two out at the end, the ones I almost slid into last year, I don't know why he left them two.
That's what the toll gate's for.
So he left two, and like you said, after the 30 days, we'll worry about that.
I can have a little fun, you know.
I know.
Thank you for putting up with me.
No, you did that tonight.
All right, now I got a better perspective on the dirt than I didn't have that.
Thing is, you know, I'm leaning towards what Dave proposed and what Bob proposed, a valid cost for the material removed and pay the gentleman, and that way there's no more movement, you have to do anything, there's no movement at all.
Whatever.
I see too much friction with him, you know.
Oh, yeah, I would have to have the police involved the day I do it. It's pretty evident.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think that might be a proposal.
Yeah.
Now, just to let you guys know, I get deliveries from Pike occasionally for some road material for my house. The delivery fee from Pike, which is right over in Hooksett, and actually Mount Williams is the same, they're $80 a load. You know, it might be 85.
How many yards can you put in the truck?
They put 23 yards in their big trucks and they deliver a load.
We're talking about
tons.
I mean tons, yeah.
So approximately 18.
18 yards. So that'd be almost 3 loads we would need to do it right. That's the value of the
Well,
delivery.
like he said, he was gonna deliver 15 yard loads and do
Four.
Four, yeah.
Right.
And you can
Right.
tell them, that's how many yards you want in a load, and they weigh them up, so.
Well, do we need to discuss this any further? But I think we have a solution, but I just think, Bob, I'd like to give us some cost figures that you would chemicals, like, is it $180, is it $3 a yard?
It typically is a couple dollars a yard.
Couple dollars a yard?
Fill material. But you know, like, I wasn't kidding when I said, he put inch and,
No, he's right, he's right.
he put all that crush in there, which was way over dollar wise what you took out, and not just that, it was fairly substantially thick there because you guys were gonna be turning graders and trucks there. And it's not a small turnaround, it's a big area. So I
We
think
would, if we reclaim that,
you would pull that out.
I wasn't, I don't, cause,
Yeah, why?
well, I just go over.
Put the loam over it,
No, I'm thinking pull it out and put it on the end of Kelsey Road.
more work.
It's labor, you know what I mean, sometimes.
okay.
It's, you know, I mean, you invest I mean, you wanna prove a point, maybe, and that, and with that, you invest
If we're
$10 a
reclaiming
yard
it-
for something you can buy for $8.
Yeah.
If you're reclaiming it, you can scoop it out and put it at the end of that road.
Alright, we're not at that point.
Just
today.
draw up the loom right over it, spread
Okay,
it out.
let's bring this
Whatever.
back. Public
Alright,
comments
you answered
now,
all my questions,
yes,
thank you.
public comments now closed, I'll bring it back to the board, I'll let it go with Dave first.
Okay. You had asked for the items that I think that we wanna get and talk about next week, but the ones I'm gonna try and bring up tonight, I'd like to work on painting the front of the transfer station, Lane's gonna work on that.
Right.
I'm gonna try and work on getting us at least one more bid for the re-siding of the back and front of the safety complex, police and fire station.
Correct.
Town hall library sign, Lean, had you had any headway on that?
Oh, no, I'll give them a call again.
I seen that sign is outside, getting a little bit worse swollen over there right by the eaves.
What color you gonna paint?
I think we're gonna keep it on that.
Green. Oh,
Green?
red, green, yeah, no.
So, we'll check into that, so, my reasoning for that is I was hoping to get that sign up while he still had the lift here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then the last thing I have on my list is, now that Bowen is done with our school, or almost done, I'd like to work on the steel supports with them, so,
Or other alternatives.
yeah.
Was Jeff able to give us a quote?
You know, I did reach out to him and he must be crazy, cause he hasn't heard back, but I will again.
Okay, so we have a dilemma, to go with steel or wood again.
Yeah, so, I'll reach out again, see if I can't get some answers started for that.
Okay. And the thing is, don't forget, we have disposition of Cohen Steel, we're gonna make it right,
That's correct.
and I don't wanna lose sight of that.
I've encumbered $5,000,
Okay,
so.
to make it right,
Yeah.
okay.
And they don't need it, cause they're out of business.
That being said, I guess we'll just wait.
Okay, so next week, those will be ongoing, then we can add more next week after, Bob, it's to you.
Well, there isn't too much except for the fact that, you know, looking at these bids tonight, the two bids, we should have probably done that the last time we gave that out to somebody for $13,000 more, is hold their feet to the fire and find out exactly what we're getting, and then compare it with the other person, because the other person was $13,000 or $18,000 cheaper, and that's a big chunk of money, so, you know, when we're getting these bids out, instead of doing it that night, because we're not, if we don't share the numbers right away, we have time, if they're close, to find out if there's any way they can adjust their bid. When you go to a contractor's office and he's got these bids coming in, and he's getting, we'll say for painting, he's got 3 bids, he's gonna make phone calls and say, is that the best number you got? Because they all wanna get a job. So I think we should be doing the same thing, because when you question them about the range, there's a, you know, $6,000, $7,000 is a bit of a range,
69 to 75, so it
you
had
know,
a $600 range.
you know, I mean,
And yet the payment plan was exactly to the money, actually $60 high,
Yeah,
3 installments, so how do you pay your 3rd installment if you've got a range?
you don't.
Okay.
So it's done. So, no, I'm in agreement with you on that, Bob. I know on that building, we did wanna use somebody that was gonna go above and beyond, and I think that, you know, he is showing us that he did that on that building. And I wanted to make sure on that building, some of the other buildings, you know, aren't gonna catch the eyes as much, I think that, you know,
Especially that green
It's
paint.
only Jeff's building.
Can I just comment on the,
no.
I don't like those. green things on that
I
building.
said no.
I don't care.
Well,
I don't think they added our survey comments to that survey, because everybody here said no.
the only thing with the survey, it's kinda nice to do a survey, but we made a decision, and before he goes to implement something, he should come back and say, he did a survey, this many people said they like it, this many said they didn't, do you guys wanna change your mind? Cause in the end, whoever's gonna come in and complain isn't going to Don Tuttle, they're coming in here and they're complaining to us and saying, why did you paint that? When you had the gray up there,
Yeah.
when you're looking at it from far away, it looks like it wasn't painted.
It was
It looks like it was
Rotten
weathered.
wood.
Looked like it was weathered and was getting down, so that's why I thought, that really doesn't look good, cause it
Yeah.
looks like they should be touching it up.
Yeah,
And the only complaint I had about the color was, people making comments that they didn't like the green doors, and I said, we're not going down that path. We kept it the same, green doors. Okay, anything else, Bob?
Yeah, that should do it.
That should do it?
Yeah, I went over the bridge to yesterday for the first time. It's
Made it?
wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a shorter way for the
You're
transfer
gonna probably
stations.
need, police, there for like Saturday, the recycling center is open, the traffic will be heavy.
It's been open for a while, it seems to be working out all right.
Lean, I'm gonna ask you, town administrator, do you have
I've
anything?
talked enough tonight, I'm
Okay.
done.
And I'm gonna take it back to me.
You've talked enough too.
I just, no, this is important. I wanna see everyone Monday at 4 o'clock for the election set up. Lean, if you just make sure we get a response from the town.
Can you text me, Mike?
No, I won't. I don't do computers anymore.
Do it, don't? Text is on your
I
phone.
have that here, action. Okay, I've got enough actions on my list for this, for tonight.
But I just wanna make sure we do have 2 people to set it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna remind Woody again,
And
Now,
also,
are they not taking down, is that what I'm hearing?
they're taken down too.
Okay.
last time it was a small turnout, you guys had it all done before they got there.
No, they took it, no, they
they
came,
did?
they came in,
Yeah,
took
I
it
think
down.
they did.
Save
We
the
helped
work
on
for
all
them.
the miscellaneous items, I think.
Save the work for them, if you're paying them to come do it.
I am, except, the thing is, it's
Well,
3
it's
hours,
your
of work.
problem.
They have to come in, if they work 1 hour, it's took it 3, so 3 hours, they get to put it together
Exactly.
and take it apart the correct way, no
Volunteer
rushing.
for other stuff.
Yeah,
And we have to carry Linda's stuff.
You have to
back
pay him
and
6,
forth.
Now,
6 hours.
what time does it start? The election.
7 PM to 7 AM to 7 PM.
I thought you were gonna say 7 p.m.
On Tuesday,
So,
Jeff. Setup is Monday night.
Yeah, no, I understand that, I get that.
In fact,
If
if
the
you
election is at 7,
if
So
you-
school's off, right?
no, school's in session.
Go get that lunch with my granddaughter.
If you forget, it's on the marquee.
Yeah, no, I just didn't know, I
She'll
remember
like
there was
that.
some
Yeah.
talk about the start time.
It was,
I didn't know what it finally ended up being.
No, they talked about it, but we can't actually change it back, Jeff. Once you give them more hours, it has to go to a town vote. Okay, so the selectmen can increase the hours, but we can't decrease them.
Okay,
And Linda,
that's fine with
Linda
me.
pointed that out, so
She was surprised too.
she asked us to change it, and then she found in the RSA that we can't.
Nice, all right.
Can't lessen them, we can
okay,
only
we have 1 more minute before I close the comments.
Oh no, do it
make a
now.
motion to adjourn.
Second,
Close.
All right.
I still on debate.